All right, this is kind of touchy because I'm not talking about strangers or people who are just out in the world who just giving you some type of hating energy. I'm talking about the people that are close to you, that you love, right? And you want their love and you want their approval, and they would normally give it to you for most things, or when you do the things that they want you to do. But when you're doing this thing you're wanting to do, when you're trying to follow your dream and your passion, that love is kind of like spotty. You know what I mean? Like it's there a little bit, and what you're really looking for, of course, is support and validation. And that might not exist at all, right? In general, the answer to how to deal with that is to love them, but love them from a distance, right? Love them from over there. Let them be over there across the field, and you can love them from behind the fence, because you need that fence to keep that negative stuff out, okay? Now, in the case of like a sibling or a parent, that's a little easier to do. They don't live with you, possibly. They don't live with you, so you don't have to go see them. You can limit your interactions with them. You can only go over there and spend time with them when there's not a lot of time for them to like turn the conversation toward you and whatever you're doing, right? But in the case of your spouse, you can't do that. You have to figure that thing out. I mean, and just try to lay some ground rules at best. But here's what I want you to do. Again, love the hater. Understand the hater, because it might come from a place. Their hate and their criticism and their lack of support and lack of validation might come from a legitimate source, or at least a legitimate concern. But it all boils down to fear and jealousy. All right? So the fear can be legitimate, but the jealousy is not, right? So let's talk about that. So the fear. If you want to be a motorcycle stunt driver, right, there is a legitimate fear that you will hurt yourself. And especially if you're married and you got kids, your parents are going to be afraid for your actual safety, your safety and well-being and your health. If you're doing something that would endanger your health, of course, they're going to be concerned. They're going to be scared. They're going to be fearful of what can happen to you physically, okay? Then there's the fear that you'll get hurt emotionally, right? Maybe because, you have other siblings who are lawyers, who are established. They've been established for a while, and you've been kind of the one trying to figure things out, and you really haven't found your way yet, and your parents, your mom or your dad is just kind of babying you a little bit. And so here it is, you have some other venture you're trying to do. You're trying to sing or dance or be a ballerina or whatever. You're trying this new thing. You tried a whole bunch of other things. They didn't work out, and you were sad, and they had to be there to support you. And so their concern is that you will fail at this new venture, and you will be in another depressive state that they will have to then try to coax you out of. And so they're scared for your failure, right? And that sounds so right? But in a way, it's like, it's legitimate. It's almost like when you were little and, some little kid down the street made fun of you and hurt your feelings. Like, they don't want you to be around hurtful things that make you feel bad, okay? But you're an adult. So whatever happened with you and little Timmy back in the day, it's over. Like that parental need to shelter you from emotional damage, that doesn't have any place as an adult, and it doesn't have any place in what you're wanting to do, right? Lastly, as far as a fear is concerned, there's a fear of that you'll lose some type of reputation. There's a fear to a hit to your reputation, and realistically, it's not your reputation they're worried about, it's their reputation. Since you're connected to them, they're concerned that whatever negative thing or negative view that's being, cast towards you will affect them in somehow, right? In some way. And that's why they're concerned that you're doing this thing will somehow get back to them, and now they have to explain to their church members or their school friends or whatever. The people at their job, they're worried about their status being affected by your decision. Now that is bad, right? That's when you're starting to get into like that hater category, right? They're not worried about you. They're worried about what you're doing and how will it affect them, right? You're not doing drugs. You're not doing anything illegal. You're just wanting to do something different. I'll give you a prime example. Let's say you have a doctor's degree. You went through the whole process to become a doctor and everybody was happy for you. And now you want to be a stand-up comedian. Can you imagine those family conversations? How you would drop a six-figure guaranteed doctor salary. I don't mean it may not be that way anymore, but you make a lot of money as a medical doctor, right? And then you want to drop all of that to be a stand-up comedian. You want to drop all that to be a hip-hop. You want to be a break dancer. You right? There's a concern that there's a fear concern of like your financial well-being, right? You'll be broke, but there's also the concern that you will somehow bring some type of shame to the family. You get what I'm saying? Right? Which brings me to the last leg of this, which is jealousy, right? Now that's the big one right there, jealousy. Let's say you drop being a doctor to be a breakdancer, right? Of course, your parents are going to think you're insane. Like, why would you throw away this great life that they've sacrificed, especially if they came from another country? They came from another country and sacrificed to make sure that you could be a doctor. You're a doctor. You're throwing it all away to be a comedian. They're going to be very, very, very upset / concerned / whatever. And they're going to try to have an intervention with you to get you to stop. But here's the thing, though. You may have a brother or sister or friend that also wanted to be a comedian, right? And the two of you growing up used to laugh and make jokes and draw, make comic strips and do all kinds of stuff, right? But at some point, your sibling decided to take maybe they're older, right? And they wanted to be responsible, and then they took the responsibility that was thrust upon them from their parents and did the thing that the parents wanted them to do and made them happy. But you kind of still dabbled with the creative thing, and so now you're ready to do the thing professionally. How do you think your sibling feels? Because the truth is, they wanted to do that thing with you. They wanted to be a comedian first. They were actually considered to be the most funny person in the family. You were like secondary funny, right? You know what I'm saying? Just imagine every famous singer that you see on TV probably has a sibling that's more talented. Probably has a sibling that was recognized as being the most talented sibling in the family. It's just that they decided to pursue a legitimate, professional, honorable career, while the other one went and actually just stayed with the vocal lessons and stayed, getting all this criticism until it actually worked. And now they're recognized as being the most talented. But the truth is, they're not. The sibling can still sing better. They can play basketball better, right? It's just they peaked and they stopped. They had life happen to them, and then they stopped that journey while the other continued, is now recognized across the world. You get what I'm saying? That can happen, right? And when that does happen, the person who got left behind tends to have those feelings of jealousy, and the jealousy will come off as concern. The jealousy will come off like, oh, I'm concerned that you run out of money. I'm concerned that, people won't respect you, right? The thing about jealousy is that it can mask itself as concern. And that's what you really got to be careful of, because it's not really concern. They want to do what you do. They wish they could just have the courage to do what you did and buck whatever family tradition, whatever family expectation from the parents or the grandparents. I mean, bro, in some cultures, that is a huge, huge weight, right? You can't just decide to be this entertainer when your whole family, the whole point of being in America is to have this very lucrative career, and you're throwing it away to be a juggler. You get what I'm saying? Like, that would be like the hugest slap in the face. But if you want to juggle, that's what you got to do. If God put that in you to juggle, you got to do it, okay? Or else you're going to be miserable. But the fact is, there's people in your life that wish they could just cast off all the expectations of family and society and just do what you do, okay? And when it comes to your spouse, bro, it's all that mixed in. It's fear, it's jealousy, it's concern, it's all kind of stuff. Because there's a financial component, there's a you're not here component, especially if you got kids, you're not helping me with the kids component, and there's guilt, right? And that's the hardest thing to deal with. The solution to them, for them, is for them to kind of follow something that they're passionate about as well, versus just always worried about what you're doing, right? Maybe we'll talk about that in another video, but the point is, the solution for anyone who's hating on you is to do the thing that they want to do as well. Maybe they don't have to quit their jobs, but maybe they just need to find something else to do besides worry you about what you're trying to do, okay? Now, again, it doesn't mean that their fears, especially when it comes to like safety and financial well-being, it does not mean that their fears are unfounded. I'll give you an example. I had a friend who went out to LA. He wanted to make it big. And before he left, we had a conversation about like basically what to do. You know, we talked about his finances and stuff. And so I followed up with him maybe like a couple months, like a week or two later. No, it was like a couple months later. And I asked him how things are going, and he's telling me he's going great. He's saving money like we talked about. He had a plan for whatever. And then he kind of just threw out there that he was living out of his car. And I was like, wait, what'd you say? He said, yeah, no. You said, Alex, to save on your expenses. So, you know, I'm living out of my car. I said, ain't nobody tell you to be homeless. I don't know what part of what I said meant be homeless. He's like, no. I thought about it. Rent out here is like $2,000. I could just pay $0. I'm like, yeah, but you are homeless, right? And he's like, no, I got a plan. I'm gonna go to this gym. I'm gonna go to this thing, and here's where I'll take my shower. This is where I'm gonna get dressed. And he had this whole thing. And the thing is, I had enough confidence in this man, and he's capable. So I knew that he had a plan. It's just that I was a little worried just because of the safety, right? He's sleeping in his car. You don't know what people are doing once you're unconscious, right? But I tried my best to let him know that I supported him, right? I'm not a hater. I'm encouraging people, but I was concerned as someone who encourages people. But he was like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay. But imagine what his parents would think, right? That is a legitimate concern. You are homeless. Of course your parents are going to be concerned, okay? So sometimes it's not hate, but the hardest thing to do is to figure out, like, where are they coming from, right? And realistically, when it comes to your peers, just your childhood and how y'all came up together, that'll give you a good indication, because if y'all used to do this thing together and now you're still doing it and they're not, it's probably jealousy, okay? Real talk. If it's your parents, they're your parents. And sometimes parents are super cool and they just jump right on board with like helping and believing in their kid as far as whatever they want to do. I know a comedian and their parents are just like all on board, and that's awesome. But I know another comedian and parents are like not on board. Like, he basically does not talk to them about his career, and he didn't even tell them he was full-time until maybe a couple years into it. He had to basically present proof to say, look, I have money, I have a house, I'm not dying. And they're like, yeah, but can you go back to being a doctor? You get what I'm saying? Like, they were happy he was not homeless, but they still wanted him to like put this down. They thought maybe this was just some kind of like phase in his life, and it's not a phase. This is life. They don't understand that, but love them. But if you can, love them from a distance and keep those conversations at Thanksgiving and Christmas to a minimum. You know, stay behind your fence. Love them, right? Peek through the hole, right? But don't let them give you all those reasons why you shouldn't do something, because you love them and you want their validation. And if you listen to them long enough, you will start believing them. And that is the worst. That's the worst thing that can happen to your dreams, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there really quick. Well, I say really quick, but that wasn't quick at all. It was 15 minutes. All right. We'll pick back up. See you next time. Bye.